Call of Duty Cold War, while far from perfect, still remains one of the most popular and impressive games of the year, but unfortunately, it has an identity crisis rivaling Jason Bourne. Let's talk about that. With gaming continuously growing in popularity, the diversity in player interest is more complex than ever before. Some players prefer a more casual experience, something that doesn't require much dedication or time investment to experience what it has to offer. A game which allows everyone to play in fairly without forcing them to join the unemployment line just to have enough time to enjoy. Something you can just pick up and run with. Then there are those who want to push themselves to their absolute limits, constantly forcing improvement or drown from unable to keep up. A continuous development dedicated to learning and discovering what all is capable, a never-ending fight for being better than you were. While developers can intend for gameplay to lean towards either side of difficulty, ultimately the decision is made by the player base who take the reins and use what they were given to pave the gameplay they want. For some games, the answer comes naturally, as a result of the mechanics forcing a specific playstyle. Tekken, for example, is one of the most competitive games alive due to its in-depth possibilities for tech, unique character roster, and numerical data. The player isn't required to learn this information, but without it they are at a severe disadvantage. No returning Tekken player goes into a match without taking the time to truly learn the game, but will quickly become familiar with the excruciating experience of being juggled to full health. The depth of the game's mechanics allows players who wish to push beyond what's possible to do so freely, yet restricts beginning players by practically forcing them to spend hours practicing before they even hit their first match. The unique principles and dynamics of Tekken means one has to spend the extra effort to learn the specifics of that single game. On the contrary, a game like Star Wars Battlefront 2 sticks to the basic principles of any shooter, meaning if you know how to play one, you can play them all. The controls are incredibly basic, only requiring fundamental understanding of movement, firing, and ability consumption. While the game does offer special characters and modes, these variations of gameplay, like getting a hero or flying a ship, are not required by the player. The person playing can enjoy the game to the end of time just as a droid or clone trooper, with no real loss to them. The optional deviation in gameplay offers those who want to go above and beyond to do so without impacting the player base who are satisfied with the base gameplay. Unfortunately, lack of real competitive support, game modes, progression, and rewards outside of earning the ability to play Donald Glover once causes a lack of purpose. Additionally, since the game utilizes random matchmaking and bots to fill its lobbies, you're often going to either destroy or get destroyed with no in between. Without purpose or consistently fair matches, there is no true meaning to trying your hardest. To have a game that can not only support the competitive players, but can also provide a casual experience, is very hard to come by. Often games that try to bridge that gap, usually providing a separation consisting of casual and ranked playlists, leave one side feeling overlooked. Overwatch, for example, while indeed supported both audiences for a number of years, the sharp favoritism towards ranked play began when the Overwatch League, Overwatch's premier esports series, was greatly in popularity. Before, character nerfs, buffs, and general reworks were a result of the general player base saying they needed a change. But after the rise of the Overwatch League, every character change was a result of how they played in the hands of a professional player. Characters who felt balanced in the hands of everyone but someone who plays the game for 15 hours a day to get a paycheck would get changed just as the Overwatch League would be more entertaining. The League is what led to some of the most heavy and devastating changes, such as Role Queue Enforced 222, which caused many players, like myself, to quit after it was abundantly apparent that they would continue to drastically change the game just to fit around the professional scene, leaving everyone else to either embrace the new normal or quit, with casual slowly feeling just like an unranked mode. I talk about these games to emphasize how difficult it is to truly provide for both casual and competitive players, showing cases where ultimately one side is inevitably favored, because Call of Duty Cold War is somehow the game that closes that gap between casual and competitive just a little bit closer. And the reason why is because of one thing, and that's fairness. With Tekken, the game is only fair when someone has spent hours dedicated to learning, leaving beginners and casuals out. For Star Wars, the game only feels fair when the random matchmaking blesses you with a decent game, leaving any real sense of competition out. With Overwatch, the game only feels fair if you play by the competitive rules, leaving fun out. Cold War avoids all this with 3 simple solutions: skill-based matchmaking, weapon balancing, and competitive support. Skill-based matchmaking makes it to where the game will match you with similarly skilled players, meaning you'll always feel on par with your enemies and allies, and always have competition, rather than being far better or far worse. Of course, it's not a perfect system. You get one good game and it'll place you against the entirety of Dallas Empire, but it's better for both tryhards and casual players, as each will be placed in their respective lobbies, where each can have fun. As for the weapon balancing, Cold War offers a variety of guns, perks, and attachments to fit every playstyle, but we're only going to be concerned with one, and that's the meta. Meta essentially is the best class and loadout for that particular season, and although meta can be annoying, it allows both sweats and casuals to feel godlike. Weapons like the AK-74U or LC-10 are just so good that even the worst player on the planet can drop a quad feed with it. The extremely easy to use weapons keep the pace up, as people aren't afraid to push because they know they hold the power of 2 atom bombs. By letting both high skill and low skill players using an extremely godlike weapon balances the playing field, making the overall experience feel a tad bit more fair. Finally, let's talk about the competitive support of the game. Skill-based matchmaking and meta weapons aren't just in the favor of casual players. They allow equal separation of skill bases, meaning high skill players will constantly have the challenges of facing equally powered enemies in every game. Additionally, with rewards in both casual and league play, which incentivizes tryharding, they're given a sense of purpose, which pushes them ever further towards their goals. Call of Duty Cold War manages to do what a lot of games wish that they could, by maintaining a strong connection and support of both casual and competitive audiences. It's not all roses and daisies though. The current system has some serious problems. Because of skill-based matchmaking, means if you have a high elo or skill rating, then every match you play will be just as sweaty as you were in your peak. The problem is, what if you want to take a break for a match? Don't want to sweat or just take an easy experience. You're unable to, because without deliberately tanking your stats, the game will only place you against people like you when you were sweating. The current system in place prevents players from switching it up sometimes, and that's a real bummer. Fortunately, I don't think they're going to be fixing this anytime soon, because I don't really think there's a way to fix it. It's just part of the game. Considering everything they got right with the game though, I think I'm fine overlooking that. I can always just make it alt. You know what I mean? Anyways, thanks for watching and take care.